The research study I used was an article called "The Mere Presence of a Cell Phone May Be Distracting, Implication for Attention and Task Performance." This research study investigated the question presented of how has mobile technology changed society and the workplace. I will be sharing the results of 2 studies that these researchers undertook. The first task was the digital cancellation task. The performance for both tasks was assessed by how many rows and numbers that each participant cancelled out in the certain time limit that was given to them. 90 seconds for part A and 180 seconds for part B. The performance for this task also had the errors subtracted that the participants had made. The second task was the trail making test, where rather than timing how long it took for the participants to complete a successful path, their performance was based on how far they got through the path during a certain time limit. 15 seconds for part A and 30 seconds for part B. The scoring for this task was based on how participants successfully connected the circles in numerical order. If there was an error that wasn't corrected by the end of the time limit, these were subsequently subtracted off the participant's final score. Participants' performance for part A of the digital cancellation task was relatively similar for both groups. Those who had a cell phone accidentally left on their desk, and for those who had a notebook accidentally left on their desk. However, for part B of this task, the participants that had a cell phone accidentally left on their desk performed worse than their counterparts that had a notebook accidentally left on their desk. The results for the trail making test showed that for part A of the task, the cell phone had no effect on the participants' performance. However, for part B, the presence of a cell phone did hinder their performance. The surveys that the participants completed showed that there was no relation between attentional behaviour, usage, and age or the gender of the participants and their final score. However, older participants did report that they use their phone and have less possession attachment compared to the younger participants that performed these surveys. From these surveys, it showed that there was no relation between attention, usage, or attachment with the final scores. For study 2 of the article, part A of the digital cancellation task showed that there was roughly no difference in the scores between the control class and the experimental class. However, for part B, the more complex part of the digital cancellation task, results showed that the number of lines completed between classes didn't differ. However, the number of correct cancellations differed significantly for the class under the manipulation of the presence of a cell phone, as they had much less correct cancellations compared to the control class. The results for the trail making test were similar to the digital cancellation task. Part A had no difference in the number of circles that were traced through. However, for part B, again, the more complex part, the class with the cell phones present had fewer consecutive circles traced compared to the class that had no cell phones present. The surveys from study 1 were also taken in study 2, and they had the same results, where usage and attachment and the attention for the participant did not hinder their performance overall in the tasks at hand. From both of these studies, we can see that the results provide evidence that the mere presence of a cell phone can reduce the performance and attentional capacity of a person, but only when the task at hand is cognitively and attentionally demanding. Also, based on the digital cancellation task, the quantity of work was the same, regardless whether there was a cell phone present or not. However, the quality of this work was significantly hampered when there was a cell phone present compared to when there wasn't a cell phone present. The surveys that were taken also showed us that age, cell phone use and attachment, and attention are not variables that will affect the performance and score of the participants that undertook the tasks in this study.